As the vibrant streets of Kyoto faded into the rearview mirror, I felt a mixture of exhilaration and trepidation. The cherry blossoms gently dancing in the spring breeze had left an indelible mark on my soul, and now I was drawn to the far northern city of Sapporo before making my way to the southern charms of Fukuoka. Each city a new chapter in my adventure, a story waiting to unfold. Sapporo was known for its snowy landscapes and vibrant food scene, particularly the famous Sapporo ramen. It was this bowl of steaming noodles that haunted my dreams as I imagined slurping them up at a local eatery, nestled between the white-capped mountains. Yet, as I prepared for this leg of my journey, doubts began to creep in. Would I find the adventures I sought? Would Sapporo live up to the serene beauty of Kyoto, or would it be a cold blockade against my boisterous city spirit? I spent nights researching the hidden corners of Sapporo, the tranquility of Morinuma Park, designed by the renowned sculptor Isamu Noguchi, pulled at my curiosity. The sprawling landscape with its hills and art installations promised a place of reflection, far removed from the bustling urban life I had just left behind. I thought about the Sapporo Beer Museum, too, which told the curious story of how this beverage became a cultural staple. I envisioned wandering through the exhibits, drink in hand, imagining the laughter and camaraderie shared over countless toasts. On the eve of my departure, I stood in front of my mirror, searching for the confidence that had guided me so far. I wanted this journey to be about more than just sightseeing. I yearned for connection and discovery. What would Sapporo reveal about itself and about me? Arriving in Sapporo, the air was crisp and charged with the scent of pine. It was a stark contrast to the soft humidity of Kyoto, and I could feel my spirit awakening in this new environment. My first meal was at a bustling ramen shop, the steam curling up like whispers of the souls who had tasted this dish before me. I savored each bite, the noodles perfectly textured, the broth a deep, umami-rich elixir that warmed my very being. In that moment, my worries melted away, and a sense of peace washed over me. With a newfound sense of purpose, I set out to explore. Morinuma Park was my first destination, and as I wandered through the sprawling grounds, I marveled at the interaction between landscape and art. The white granite hills were not just mounds of earth. They were mountains inviting me to climb and explore. I climbed one and looked out over the sprawling city of Sapporo. The panorama before me held a tapestry of civilization cradled by nature's embrace, and I felt a deep sense of interconnectedness with the world and my place within it. But my journey was not just about appreciating natural beauty. It was about untangling the threads of my inner self. With each adventure, I was confronted by echoes of my past. Why was I traveling? What fragments of myself was I seeking to piece together? These thoughts circled my mind as I made my way to the Sapporo TV tower. When I finally reached the observation deck, the city sprawled out below me, intricate and bustling. The view was dizzying. I realized that every corner of this city held endless stories of people living their lives, full of hopes and dreams, just like mine. After a few days in Sapporo, it was time to venture south to Fukuoka, a city renowned for its lively culture, ancient temples, and of course, its mouth-watering street food. As I boarded the train, my mind was alight with possibilities. Fukuoka was not just a destination. It was a promise of adventure, a vibrant canvas ready for exploration. Arriving in Fukuoka, the warmth enveloped me. It felt more alive than anywhere I had been before. My first stop was the famous Nakasu district, known for its yotai, or food stalls. The narrow alleys shouted with laughter and sizzling sounds, drawing me in with an irresistible pull. I had heard tales of the tonkatsu ramen here, its creamy, rich broth a revelation waiting to happen. As I slid onto a wooden stool at a bustling stall, I found myself surrounded by locals, each bowl steaming, noodles swirling in flavors that danced upon my palate. Between slurps and bites, a woman sitting next to me struck up a conversation, laughing as she pointed at the toppings I had chosen for my ramen. It turned out she was a local artist, and our conversation quickly deepened into the realms of dreams and aspirations, art and culture. It was in this exchange that I found a reflection of my own journey, both of us seeking connection and understanding in a world that sometimes feels vast and isolating. The days in Fukuoka melted into each other, and I immersed myself in the history of Ohori Park, wandering beneath the cherry blossoms that seemed to whisper secrets of the past. The serene waters of the pond reflected the sky, and I felt as if I were standing at the edge of two worlds, one of vibrant exploration and another of contemplative stillness. The notable shrines of Fukuoka beckoned me too. At Tokoji Temple, the towering Buddha statue greeted me like an old friend, filling me with a sense of tranquility. It was here, amid swirling incense and prayer, that I confronted the questions I had been seeking to answer throughout my travels. The hum of the temple, soft, rhythmic, and grounding, steeped into my bones, reminding me that every step was a part of a larger narrative. I wrapped myself in the beauty of my surroundings, grateful for the unpredictable nature of life on the road. Each day brought its own challenges, reminding me that though I journeyed outward into the world, I was simultaneously journeying inward. In Sapporo, in Fukuoka, and beyond, I discovered threads that connected us all: the pursuit of connection, the hunger for adventure, and the quest for understanding oneself amidst the chaos of existence. As my travels unfolded, I learned that the true essence of adventure lay not solely in grand experiences, but in the quiet moments of connection, the shared laughter over food, the understanding nod between strangers, the stillness found in nature. The journey was not just through cities and sights. It was a pilgrimage of the soul, a testament to the beauty of life lived boldly. With every city I explored, I felt more alive, more present, more in tune with the world around me. Sapporo, with its sparkling snow and culinary delights, and Fukuoka, with its lively streets and unyielding spirit, had taught me invaluable lessons that I would carry with me forever. As the plane descended towards New Chitose Airport, a wave of emotions washed over me. I gazed out of the window, my heart racing with anticipation. Sapporo, the city famous for its snow festivals and ramen, loomed closer, its sprawling urban landscape interspersed with pockets of greenery and mountains in the distance. The moments leading up to my arrival were a mixture of excitement and anxiety. Would I manage to navigate this unfamiliar territory? Would I be able to communicate with the locals? Doubts crept into my mind, but they were quickly overshadowed by the sheer thrill of embarking on this adventure. Once I stepped off the plane, the cool Hokkaido air hit my face, and I inhaled deeply, feeling invigorated. My first step inside the airport felt like a leap into the unknown. The signs were primarily in Japanese, a language I had only encountered in the pages of textbooks. I fumbled through my bag, double-checking my itinerary, clenching it tightly in my hand, as if it were a lifeline. The sense of fear that poked at my stomach was palpable, but it mingled with a rush of euphoria that made my heart race even faster. As I made my way through the airport, everything felt surreal. The smooth, efficient processes of customs and baggage claim were a comfort, yet I couldn't shake off the feeling of vulnerability. I was in a different world, and it was both exhilarating and terrifying. With each step towards the exit, my doubts began to dissolve, replaced by a new sense of determination. I was here to experience something remarkable, something beyond my daily routine back home. When I finally exited the airport, the vibrant energy of Sapporo surrounded me. I was greeted by fresh, crisp air and the faint sounds of bustling life. The streets were alive with the rhythm of people going about their day. A mixture of fear and excitement bubbled inside me as I stepped into the city. The dazzling Neo-Tokyo vibe contrasted with the traditional elements of Japanese culture. Neon lights flashed while cherry blossom trees still held onto the last remnants of their blooms. I made my way toward my accommodation, absorbing the sights and sounds. The streets were lined with a cacophony of cafes, restaurants, and shops. The aroma of grilled meats and fresh produce wafted through the air, making my mouth water. It was sensory overload, and I loved it. Yet, with every corner I turned, a wave of doubt swept over me. Would I find the right place to eat? Would I be able to ask for help if I needed it? Questions swirled in my mind, but I pushed them aside, reminding myself that this was all part of the experience. Once I checked into my hotel, a cozy little place just off a bustling street, I paused for a moment to gather my thoughts. My heart was still playing the music of nerves and excitement, and I could hardly wait to step out and explore. I dropped my bags and grabbed my camera, ready to document every moment. I glanced out the window, and a sense of inspiration washed over me. I wasn't merely a tourist. I was a part of this vibrant tapestry woven together with the stories of countless others who had walked these streets before me. The first place I decided to explore was the historic Sapporo clock tower. As I approached it, I could hardly believe how beautiful it was, an elegant reminder of the city's history amidst the modern world. Standing there, I felt a mix of awe and contentment, realizing that I was just beginning to scratch the surface of what this city had to offer. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue across the city, I ventured towards Odori Park. The park, with its sprawling lawns and art installations, buzzed with energy. Families laughed, groups of friends gathered, and couples strolled hand in hand. In that moment, I felt a sense of connection with the people around me, despite the language barrier. We were all participants in this beautiful exchange of culture and experience. Later that night, I wandered into a little ramen shop, drawn in by the savory aroma drifting from it. As I waited for my order, I felt a mix of nervousness and excitement. I couldn't wait to taste authentic Sapporo ramen, but what if I accidentally offended someone or misunderstood something? The moment my bowl arrived, those fears melted away, replaced by sheer delight. It was everything I had hoped it would be: rich, flavorful, and utterly comforting. With a full stomach and a heart brimming with adventure, I left the shop, staring up at the clear night sky. The city was alive with lights, and I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. Despite the fear and doubts I had faced during the day, inspiration and excitement had triumphed. I was ready to embrace whatever the next day would bring. Sapporo had welcomed me with open arms, and as I made my way back to the hotel, I reflected on the whirlwind of emotions that had accompanied my arrival. Here, in this unfamiliar land, I was beginning to understand that every fear I faced was a stepping stone toward a richer experience. The fear, doubt, euphoria, and inspiration had all woven together to create the fabric of my journey, and they would carry me forward into the next chapter of my adventure in Japan. I fell asleep that first night in Sapporo with a smile on my face, knowing I would wake up to a new day filled with boundless opportunities and yet more discoveries waiting to unfurl. As the world outside my window quieted, I dreamt of what lay ahead, ready to dive deeper into the culture, beauty, and wonder of this amazing city I had just begun to explore. The moment I stepped off the airplane in Sapporo, I was enveloped by a wave of new sensations. The cool, crisp air filled my lungs as I stood there, feeling both exhilarated and apprehensive. The landscape surrounding the airport was dotted with snow-capped mountains in the distance, a stunning contrast to the vibrant colors of the city below. As I made my way through the terminal, the atmosphere buzzed with a medley of sounds: people chattering in Japanese, the soft beeping of electronic boards, and the distant laughter of children. It was a symphony of life that both excited and intimidated me. Stepping outside, I was greeted by a myriad of scents wafting through the air: freshly grilled yakitori, the sweet smell of mochi, and a hint of sea breeze. The rich aroma enveloped my senses, drawing me towards small food stalls that lined the streets. I felt like an alien in this new world, but curiosity quickly began to outweigh my hesitation. My first meal consisted of steaming, flavorful ramen. The warm broth embraced me like a hug, and as I slurped the noodles, it felt as though I was savoring a piece of the culture itself. I had never experienced food so rich and comforting, and I found myself longing to taste more. In the following days, I wandered through the snowy streets of Sapporo. Every turn revealed something new: quirky shops selling handmade crafts, cozy cafes filled with locals chatting animatedly, and beautiful parks that glistened under a blanket of white. Yet amid the delight of discovery, I experienced moments of profound loneliness. I would often sit in a bustling cafe, a hot cup of matcha in hand, observing the happy interactions around me, realizing how isolated I felt amidst the crowd. The language barrier was a constant challenge. I would try to read signs, but the characters seemed like an intricate puzzle I was yet to solve. Simple phrases often evaded me, making communication feel like a game played with invisible rules. As I prepared to travel to my next destination, Fukuoka. I took the time to study basic phrases in Japanese. With each attempt, a tiny spark of hope ignited within me. The idea of connecting with locals, however brief, began to feel less daunting. In Fukuoka, I was met with the warmth of friendly smiles as soon as I stepped off the train. The change in atmosphere was palpable. There was a sense of energy coursing through the streets, and vibrant markets filled with people haggling joyfully over fresh produce and seafood. The scent of grilled fish permeated the air, awakening my appetite once again. That evening, I wandered into the bustling Nakasu district, known for its vibrant nightlife and yatai, street food stalls. The warmth emanating from the small vendors felt inviting, and I gathered the courage to approach one. To my surprise, the vendor greeted me enthusiastically, despite my limited Japanese. As I struggled to order, the vendor's good-natured laughter broke the ice. He prepared a delicious bowl of tonkatsu ramen, and in that moment, I felt a bridge form between us. Food, it seemed, was a universal language, transcending the barriers that divided us. The warmth of the people of Fukuoka soon enveloped me, and slowly, I found myself adapting to this pulsating life around me. I began to savor the simple pleasures, watching the sun dip below the horizon as it painted the sky in shades of orange and pink, the taste of sweet sakura mochi melting in my mouth, and the tender camaraderie that blossomed with each interaction. The fear of loneliness started to dissipate, replaced by a growing sense of belonging. Navigating the intricacies of Japanese culture also turned into an enlightening journey. I was fascinated by the rituals and traditions that suffused daily life. The deep bow of respect, the way people meticulously removed their shoes before entering a home, the pride in presenting food beautifully. Each custom taught me something new about the values held dear in this society. I learned to appreciate the quiet moments as much as the loud celebrations, understanding that both were essential threads in the tapestry of life. While I faced challenges, sometimes feeling like a shadow in the background as lively conversations spiraled around me, I began to confront my fears. It was in the awkward moments, like mispronouncing a word or misunderstanding a gesture, that I realized I was learning. The self-doubt started to ebb away as I found courage in the simplest of actions, whether it was trying to engage in a conversation or offering a friendly smile. In both Sapporo and Fukuoka, I discovered that the key to overcoming loneliness lay in the willingness to be vulnerable. I learned to ask for help, and it was heartwarming to see the kindness of strangers as they offered assistance without hesitation. I began to contemplate the beauty of human connection that transcended spoken language. A nod, a shared laugh over a meal, or simply sitting side by side with someone in comfortable silence filled me with a warmth that words could hardly express. As my journey continued, I found myself reflecting on the richness of the experiences I had gathered. The initial challenges had woven together to create a narrative of growth and discovery. Each new sound, each unfamiliar smell, and every moment of doubt had contributed to a deeper understanding of not only the culture around me but of myself as well. I was not merely an observer but a participant in a beautiful exchange, a tapestry of life interwoven with every smile, gesture, and bowl of steaming ramen. Through the challenges of language, isolation, and cultural differences, I learned to embrace the discomfort of stepping out of my comfort zone. The world opened up to me in colors and tastes I had never experienced before, and the stories of people I met became an integral part of my own story. I felt an indescribable strength rising from within, a new resilience forged through travel and transformation. By the time I was ready to leave Fukuoka, I wasn't the same person who had arrived days earlier. I was a tapestry of experiences, emotions, and connections, a narrative rich in the beauty of human interaction. With my bags packed and my heart full, I felt ready to face whatever awaited me next, knowing that every new adventure would only deepen my understanding of the world and myself. Sapporo, the capital of Hokkaido Prefecture, had always been high on my travel list. Known for its stunning winter landscapes, rich culinary traditions, and vibrant urban life, I was eager to experience its unique charm. My journey began with a flight into New Chitose Airport, where crisp, fresh air greeted me as I stepped out, a reminder that this island was a world apart from the rest of Japan. I took a train to the heart of Sapporo, the bustling city that boasted modern architecture intertwined with historical sites. As I emerged from the train station, the first landmark that caught my eye was the iconic Sapporo Clock Tower. Built in 1878, this wooden structure is a symbol of the city's developmental era. Its quaint, white exterior stands out against the backdrop of the modern urban landscape. I wandered around the park surrounding it, enjoying the gentle breeze and snapping photos of tourists taking gleeful selfies. After immersing myself in the history of the clock tower, my next stop was Odori Park. Stretching over a mile from east to west, the park is a green oasis in the heart of the city, lined with flowers and fountains. I strolled leisurely, relishing the serenity amidst the buzz of city life. In winter, the park transforms into a winter wonderland, hosting the Sapporo Snow Festival. But I visited in autumn when the leaves were ablaze with orange and red hues, creating a picturesque scene. From Odori Park, I made my way to the Sapporo TV Tower. Its distinct red and white design adds character to the city's skyline. I took the elevator up to the observation deck, where panoramic views of Sapporo unfolded before me. Below, the city seemed to wrap around the mountains that frame it, a stunning blend of nature and urban development. I couldn't help but feel a sense of awe while capturing the sight on my camera. Later, I ventured to the Sapporo Beer Museum, an essential stop for any beer enthusiast. The museum traces the history of this beloved beverage in Japan and offers tastings of fresh Sapporo beer. Inside, the atmosphere was warm and inviting, with the rich scents of malt and hops. I learned about the brewing techniques that have been passed down through generations, and of course, I couldn't resist sampling the famous Sapporo classic. The crisp, refreshing taste was the perfect accompaniment to my next destination. A visit to the historic Sapporo factory, where the old beer brewery has been transformed into a shopping and entertainment complex. Sampling local cuisine was a top priority for my trip. Sapporo is renowned for its ramen, and I found myself at Ramen Yokocho, a narrow alley filled with a collection of small ramen shops, each with its unique flair. I settled into a cozy spot, ordering a steaming bowl of miso ramen topped with tender pork slices, green onions, and a perfectly boiled egg. The flavor was robust and comforting, truly a treat after my exploration. I was also delighted to try some local seafood, especially the fresh crab, which was a highlight, with its sweet, succulent meat melting in my mouth. Once I had my fill of Sapporo, it was time to journey to Fukuoka. I boarded a domestic flight, excited for the change of scenery and culture. Fukuoka is located on the northern shore of the island of Kyushu and is known for its rich history, beautiful temples, and delicious street food. Upon arrival, I quickly made my way to my hotel in the Tenjin district, which is famous for its shopping and nightlife. My first destination in Fukuoka was Ohori Park. This expansive park offers a tranquil lake surrounded by jogging and walking trails. I rented a bike and spent the afternoon cycling around the serene waters, stopping frequently to enjoy the view of the pagoda that stood majestically on an island. The combination of nature and city was captivating, making me appreciate the Japanese emphasis on harmoniously blending urban life with natural beauty. Next, I visited the Fukuoka Castle ruins, located at the western edge of Ohori Park. As I walked through the remnants of this historic site, I could almost envision the samurai warriors who once inhabited the castle. The panoramic views of the surrounding city from the hilltop gave me a deeper appreciation for Fukuoka's vastness and beauty. Later that evening, I embraced the vibrant street food culture, heading to Nakasu, an entertainment district known for its yatai, or food stalls. Venturing into this area felt like stepping into a culinary paradise. The aroma of grilled skewers, ramen, and gyoza filled the air, intermingled with laughter and the chatter of locals enjoying their meals. I plopped down at one of the stalls, ordering yakitori, chicken skewers grilled to perfection. The lively atmosphere, along with the tantalizing flavors of the food, made for an unforgettable experience. The next day, my journey took me to the Kushida Shrine, one of Fukuoka's oldest Shinto shrines. This tranquil space was adorned with intricate carvings and vibrant colors. I took part in a purification ritual, washing my hands and mouth at the temazuya before I offered a coin and prayed for good fortune. The serene ambience of the shrine contrasted beautifully with the hectic pace of urban life outside its gates. I also made time to visit the trendy neighborhood of Hakata, famous for its unique blend of traditional and contemporary culture. Here, I discovered the Hakata Machiya Folk Museum, which showcased local crafts and traditional performances. The museum, with its wooden structures and exhibitions, offered me a glimpse into Fukuoka's past. I participated in a workshop where local artisans taught me the art of weaving, a skill that has been part of this region for centuries. As my trip drew to a close, I reflected on my time spent wandering through the streets of Sapporo and Fukuoka. Each city presented its unique flavor of Japanese culture, cuisine, and history. The breathtaking landscapes, delightful foods, and welcoming people transformed my visit into a journey of discovery and appreciation for Japan's rich heritage. With a heart full of memories and a camera full of photographs, I promised myself I would return to explore more of this incredible country. The sun was just beginning to rise, casting a warm golden hue over the city as I stepped out of the small apartment I had rented. The air was crisp, invigorating, a stark contrast to the long hours I had spent traveling just to reach this point. My journey was far from over. I was about to discover the complexities of this city, both in transit and within myself. I had always loved the idea of public transportation, but nothing could quite prepare me for the reality of navigating the labyrinth of buses and trains. My hope to easily traverse the sprawling metropolis turned into a maze of confusion. The city's subway system bore a striking resemblance to a spider's web, intricate and bewildering. A few wrong turns had me standing at a station, watching the throngs of hurried commuters merge into a blur of motion, each person locked into their own world. Despite the initial overwhelming sense of disarray, I found comfort in the voices around me, snippets of conversations that hung in the air like music. There was an older gentleman who sat beside me, his weathered hands clasped over a well-loved book. We exchanged nods, and even without words, an unspoken camaraderie formed, if only for that brief moment. Then there was a young woman engrossed in her phone. She giggled at a message and, for a fleeting moment, made me feel like part of a larger narrative. However, the beauty of city life came with its shadows. One afternoon, while waiting for a bus, an argument erupted between two strangers nearby. Their words, sharp and harsh, filled the air with tension, and I felt a chill run down my spine. As I stood there, a part of me wanted to turn away, thinking it would be best not to get involved. But another part, fueled by the hope of forming connections, urged me to engage. It was during this moment of internal conflict that I recognized the balance of light and dark around me. Just like the warmth of the sun peeking through the heavy clouds, hope revealed itself amid chaos. Days turned into weeks, and as I began to learn the public transit system, my confidence grew. I made new friends, like Sam, a fellow traveler who shared my love for exploring. He was spontaneous, often suggesting places to visit that I would otherwise overlook. Together, we wandered through the urban jungle, discovering hidden cafes, vibrant art installations, and the rhythms of music spilling out from street performers. Feeling a sense of belonging began to bloom in my heart, and for the first time, the city didn't seem quite so daunting. Yet, with new relationships came new fears. One rainy evening, as we strolled through a dimly lit street, a group of loud voices approached. I felt a tightening in my chest. Instinct screamed for me to retreat, but Sam grabbed my hand and pulled me forward. "Let's keep walking," he said, his voice steady. I hesitated, grappling with the impulse to flee versus the desire to confront my anxieties. With every step, uncertainty gnawed at me, but the thought of not being alone gave me the courage to push through. Tragedy struck when Sam received a call in the middle of the night. His family had faced a sudden loss back home, and it shattered him. I watched as he wrestled with his grief and confusion, feeling helpless yet determined to support him. The weight of his sorrow pressed down heavily on me as I too grappled with the reality of loss, the fear of losing the connections I had fought so hard to build in this unpredictable city. I felt a sense of helplessness wash over me, a sensation that mirrored what I had seen in the faces of those I had encountered on public transport. In the weeks that followed, my emotions fluctuated between joy and sadness. I noticed myself reaching out to those around me with renewed fervor, be it connecting with strangers on the subway, or sharing quiet moments with friends over coffee. With each interaction came a reminder. We were all navigating our unique battles, often unseen. I opened up to the idea that vulnerability wasn't a weakness, but rather an open door to deeper connections. One weekend, under the soft glow of street lamps, I attended a small gathering organized by friends I had met along the way. We exchanged stories and laughter, enveloped in a sense of community that felt both exhilarating and comforting. As I shared tales of my journey, I quickly realized how far I had come, how every twist and turn provided lessons that shaped me. Those moments of introspection brought clarity. I was no longer just a visitor in this city, but part of its pulse, entwined in its rhythms. And then there came a turning point, unexpected yet pivotal. I found myself volunteering at a local shelter, a choice driven by the desire to give back to the community that accepted me. It was an eye-opening experience, exposing me to struggles that were far different from my own. I witnessed resilience in faces that held stories of hardship, and in their company, I learned to appreciate the little victories we often overlooked. The act of helping others ignited a fire in me, pushing aside fears and forging a purpose amid chaos. As the seasons changed, I felt myself shedding layers of uncertainty. I cycled through the streets, each push of the pedal releasing pent-up anxieties, transforming them into determination. My heart danced with excitement instead of fear as I navigated the familiar paths I had once avoided. I would often hear laughter spill from street artists, the melody of music filling the air, reminding me that beauty existed in the messiness of life. But with every gain, there were still struggles. Small setbacks, a missed bus, an unexpected storm that drenched me to the bone, disagreements with friends, reminded me of my vulnerability. Each challenge tested my resolve and pushed at the edges of my newfound strength. There were nights I found myself doubting my place here, questioning whether I truly belonged in this vibrant fabric of existence. Yet every time I felt tempted to retreat, something unexpected stirred within me. A stranger's smile on the subway, a kind word from a friend, or the thrill of a new adventure. Reflecting on it all, I realized that every moment was intertwined in a delicate dance of connection, each thread woven into my journey. Those unpredictable encounters, the moments of despair, and the joy of newfound friendships painted the city in hues I had never imagined possible. I learned to embrace both light and dark as necessary elements of my experience, understanding that without the shadows, the light would never shine as brightly. As days turned into months, the city no longer felt foreign. It transformed into a canvas of stories, each corner whispering tales of resilience, love, and hardship. I had ventured into the realm of the unknown, facing not only the chaos of the city but the complexities within myself. With the ebb and flow of emotions, friendships, and challenges, I emerged from my journey with a heart full of gratitude and a spirit forever changed. I wore my experiences like badges of honor, symbols of the fight to belong and connect in a world that can often feel overwhelmingly chaotic yet beautifully alive. In the heart of winter, I found myself wandering the vibrant streets of Sapporo, Japan. The city was a mesmerizing blend of modernity and tradition, with its towering skyscrapers decorated in radiant lights and ancient temples standing silent against the snow. I had come to Japan seeking adventure, but what lay ahead was beyond anything I could have imagined. One evening, while enjoying a warm bowl of miso ramen, I overheard two locals discussing an upcoming snow festival. Their faces lit up with excitement as they spoke of intricate ice sculptures and breathtaking fireworks. Captivated by their enthusiasm, I decided I had to experience this festival for myself. The following day, I bundled up against the bitter cold and set out to explore. The streets were lined with stalls selling steaming food, and the air was filled with laughter and the smell of grilled seafood. As I approached Odori Park, the heart of the festival, I was greeted by towering ice sculptures of animals, mythical creatures, and even famous landmarks. It was a photographer's paradise. But amidst the beauty, my attention was caught by a peculiar sight. A small booth advertising a unique challenge. The sign read, Konbini Challenge. Embrace your inner Japanese. Intrigued, I stepped closer. The challenge involved a series of tasks that encouraged participants to immerse themselves in Japanese culture. My first task was to wear a traditional yukata and join a local tea ceremony. I had always admired the grace and poise of this ritual, and now I had the chance to be part of it. Clad in the colorful outfit, I followed the instructions of a soft-spoken lady who demonstrated the intricate art of preparing matcha tea. As I whisked the powdered tea, I felt a sense of tranquility washing over me, a direct contrast to my busy life back home. The next challenge was to master a few words of Japanese, which felt like a playful yet daunting task. I found myself standing awkwardly in front of a group, learning to say arigato and konnichiwa. The laughter that erupted when I mispronounced a phrase reminded me of how far I was from true fluency, but it didn't matter. What I gained was a moment of connection with those around me, transcending the barriers of language. As the sun began to set, the festival transformed. The snow sculptures glowed in vibrant colored lights, and the atmosphere became electric. I ventured toward the stage where a performance was about to begin. Traditional drum sounds echoed through the park, and soon, a group of performers dressed in brilliant costumes began a mesmerizing dance. Their energy was contagious, and for a moment, I felt an exhilarating sense of freedom, as if I were part of this vibrant festivity. My final task involved an unexpected twist that would change everything. I was to find a hidden treasure as per a map given to me at the booth. It led me through the festival amidst the crowds, past breathtaking ice structures, and finally to the edge of the park, where a small, unassuming shrine stood. Upon arriving, I noticed a small box nestled beside it. Eagerly, I opened it, expecting to find some trinket or souvenir, but instead, I found a beautifully crafted wooden puzzle box adorned with intricate carvings. Intrigued, I attempted to solve the puzzle. After fiddling with it for what felt like hours, I finally succeeded. To my astonishment, it opened to reveal not just a beautiful hand-painted fan, but also a folded piece of paper containing an elaborate map marked with various locations throughout Japan, indicating several unique experiences to embark on. Suddenly, I was awakened to a new adventure ahead, one I had not anticipated. The final destination on the map was a village known for its breathtaking views and unique culture. I felt an overwhelming urge to continue this journey. My heart raced at the prospect of leaving Sapporo behind but embracing the uncharted territories of Japan. With a sense of urgency and excitement, I made my way to the train station and boarded the Shinkansen, the famous bullet train. As the train sped toward Fukuoka, the scenery transformed from sparkling snow to lush greenery. I pondered over the experiences I had just enjoyed. Sapporo had taught me the value of embracing new cultures, the importance of community ties, and the joy found in simple moments. Arriving in Fukuoka, I was immediately struck by its vibrant atmosphere, rich historical sites, and delicious cuisine. Excitedly, I began to explore my new surroundings. Each alley I wandered revealed street food stalls with steaming bowls of tonkatsu ramen, takoyaki, and grilled skewers. I felt alive, surrounded by the warm hospitality of the locals. My adventure took a surprising turn when I learned about a local tradition that involved a night hike to a nearby sacred mountain. Eager to immerse myself further, I joined a group of adventurers eager to experience the spiritual significance of the mountain. The hike was grueling, but the conversations shared with my fellow hikers formed a bond of friendship that made every step worthwhile. As we reached the summit, the view of the city illuminated below was breathtaking. The serenity of the moment was palpable. I took a deep breath, reflecting on how this journey had transformed me. I had entered Japan hoping for novelty, but I was leaving with a renewed appreciation for life, connection, and the beauty found in the unexpected. And then, just as I thought I had reached the pinnacle of my experience, a local elder approached me, handing me another intriguing map. "For your next adventure," he said smiling, pointing to a place marked as Okinawa. My heart raced again with excitement. My journey was far from over. I realized that the adventure was not just about the destinations, but the moments that changed my perspective. Nights of laughter, warm bowls of ramen shared with strangers, and the thrill of uncovering hidden treasures. And so, I made a promise to keep exploring, to keep uncovering the beauty of cultures, and my mind delighted in imagining the beaches of Okinawa and what awaited me next.